Good afternoon, everybody. This is not going to be a long video. This is just going to be a quick video. Just want to make an announcement to these fake Hebrew Israelites. Not going to be a long video. It's just going to be a quick video. And specifically, I'm talking about the IUIC group, the cult IUIC, run by fake Hebrew Israelite Nathaniel. You guys are really snakes, and it didn't take you long to really try your little tactics, your little intimidation, your little games with me, because this is the first time I've made a video even addressing you clowns. And yeah, I mean, you already threw a copyright claim up on my video trying to silence the truth about what you guys did, as far as when you went over to Geno Jennings' church and paraded around with hundreds of men and stood outside teaching your false doctrine outside on microphones with your propaganda in full effect. So yeah, if you think you're gonna silence me with your games, you're wrong, because now you just motivated me to just go extra hard on you. And what I'm gonna do instead now is I'm gonna play the game and not really show many of your videos, because I don't want to play the game where you're going to start reporting on my videos, because as I'll show people right now, you guys already somehow found out I did a video and made a copyright claim. And yeah, if you get 3 copyright claims, you could lose your YouTube account. So I'm appealing it because I think it's fair use what I did. I think me doing a reaction to your video is pretty common on YouTube, and I think I should be able to do that under the Fair Use Act, because I think, that's pretty common on YouTube that you're able to do a reaction video. So I don't understand how you guys are even allowed to do this. But, it just shows what a snake operation you guys have, because you already filed a copyright claim on my video. And all I did is show people what you did outside of Geno Jennings' church. So if you're so proud of what you did, if what you did was so righteous, why do you want to take videos down that show it? All I did is show what you did. If what you did was so right, listen. If I saved a bunch of babies from a burning building, I'm not going to be hitting people with copyright claims to have them take the video down. I'm not going to be upset if somebody's showing the video of me saving babies from a burning building. So what do you snake cowards have to hide, huh? You so-called, fake Hebrew Israelites, you self-proclaimed Hebrew Israelites, you fake Hebrew Israelites who can't ever debate actual competent Christians on the internet in the conscious community, because nobody can tell me a name of any IUIC member that debates anyone in the conscious community. You want to know why? Because their little daddy, Bishop Nathaniel, tells them you can't do it, because he knows they're going to get slaughtered by competent Christians. So they know it's better to just, keep their propaganda movement going and, teach their nonsense on their channel. And then if anybody tries to, show their videos to show what propaganda they're doing and break down where the lies are, then they'll play games and do copyright claims. Then they'll do stuff like this. So when you try to expose them for the liars they are, the unbiblical deceivers they are, they'll play games like this, little speed bumps in the road, try to slow people down, scare people, threaten people to lose their channels, or do games like that. But I'm going to get sharper as far as understanding what the fair use rules are. Obviously now more motivated than ever because of this nonsense. This is the first time I've ran into this copyright nonsense, because you could do reaction videos to people from my understanding. I mean, I see it all over YouTube. So I don't understand why these guys even have an ability to do anything. But I know right now I didn't get a strike. This is just a claim, so maybe it won't go through. I don't know. I'm gonna go through the process here of trying to appeal it or whatever. But what I do know is that you clowns motivated me more than ever to destroy your weak doctrine. And I'm going to make a point of it, IUIC. You're number 1 now on the fake Hebrew Israelite list. And I'm going to go at you. I'm going to make sure people know your weak doctrine, Nathaniel. I'm going to make sure people know that you're a thief and that you take money for people to celebrate God's holy festivals, holy days like the Passover. You charge money for the festivals. I'm going to get the ex-IUIC members that Jesse told me about to come on the show and expose you for the hypocrite you are. So if you're ever a member of IUIC and you want to, come to a channel and speak your piece about, what your experience was, please come over to Ryan Apologetics 747. We'd love to have you on. We'd love to do an interview. We'd love to hear how, the inner workings of this cult work, because we all know they treat women terribly. They treat women like property. We all know they're racist. We all know that they are liars, and they deceive people, and that they call the Christian church a cult when really they're a cult. They're a cult of racists. And if you don't have the right skin color, you're not welcome in their group. So for some reason, they've danced around these legal loopholes as far as why they're allowed to have this racist cult. But, if they want to play these games and start reporting people's pages and going out in front of churches and posting up hundreds of men on Sunday worship and blitzing Christian churches, then it's time that Christians and just people in general in society start paying more attention to these cowards, because they don't deserve the time of day. And they're a growing organization, but they're a racist hate group. I mean, they literally spew hatred about white people and Asian people and African people that they just decide aren't part of their little group. I guess you have to be a Black American to be an Israelite. I guess if you're Black and you're actually on the continent that Israel exists on in Africa, then you can't be an Israelite. But if you're I'm sorry, IUIC does have schools in Africa. So Bishop Nathaniel, they haven't quite got the money yet to build the school though. So they're waiting on, fundraising. That's the funny thing about it. When I watched the video on IUIC's supposed school in Africa, really what it was a piece of dirt that had a couple parts of construction started, but nothing finished, because they were still waiting on funding to get the money together, because Nathaniel hasn't gotten enough money yet from his IUIC cult in America. So he couldn't afford to make a building for the actual school in Africa. So right now they're just waiting on raising more money. But we won't show that video yet until we get the exact, rules of this YouTube copyright nonsense down. We just want to make it clear to these fake Hebrew Israelite IUIC members that all you're doing by, antagonizing me with these nonsense copyright claims when I just try to show your video is motivate me more to destroy your weak doctrine. And I'm going to make sure that I destroy your weak doctrine. And what we're going to all notice is you are cowards, and none of you will come and actually debate on channels in the conscious community anywhere. You won't come here. You won't come to Sonetta. You won't go to Garfield's channel. You won't go anywhere. You won't go to Bianchi's channel. You won't go to Paradigm Shift TV 314. You won't go anywhere because you're a bunch of cowards. So maybe what we'll eventually see is these purple losers start to come out of hiding and actually try to talk about scriptures with people. Because when they do that, they're going to realize that, they've been picking on people on the street corners, but when they actually talk to people in the conscious community, they're going to get dissected like fish, and their bellies are going to be filled with lies, and they're all going to spew out like a fish when you catch them and you throw them on the dock and you cut them open and you see, wow, what did this fish eat? Well, that fish of IUIC ate lies because it followed a whack ISUPK flunky, Nathaniel, an ex-police officer flunky. Can you imagine? He's a flunky of ISUPK. He couldn't even serve Captain General Johanna properly. He flunked out. If this was school, he flunked out of ISUPK, the Israelite School of Practical Knowledge in One West Harlem. He flunked out of there. That's what Nathaniel is. He's a flunky. And he started his own little purple school. Even though Jesus warns us about Pharisees who will stand on the corners with their long phylacteries and try to impress people with their long phylacteries and fringes, even though Jesus warned us about these exact people, this clown Nathaniel thought it was a good idea to make his exact uniform what Jesus said is something we should watch out for. Isn't that amazing? Isn't that amazing? The Son of God, God in the flesh, Jesus Christ, told us to watch out for people that are dressed in the same manner that IUIC dresses as. And to be honest with you, I don't need to watch out for them because they're not even coming towards white people as far as trying to recruit me. So the people that need to watch out for these guys are black people, Hispanic people, and Native American people. But let's look at Matthew 23:5 real quick because Jesus Christ did warn us about these clowns. So let's see what Jesus said about the Pharisees and what people like Nathaniel do, where they try to get attention on the street corners by dressing up all pretty. Let's check it out real quick. All right, so if we go to Matthew 23:1 through 5, a warning against hypocrisy, and this is in the NIV. Then Jesus said to the crowds and to his disciples, the teachers of the law and the Pharisees sit in Moses' seat. So you must be careful to do everything they tell you, but do not do what they do, for they do not practice what they preach. They tie up heavy, cumbersome loads and put them on other people's shoulders, but they themselves are not willing to lift a finger to move them. Everything they do is done for people to see. They make their phylacteries wide and the tassels on their garments long. Yeah, it's not an actually true Private Wars. The KJV is the fourth most accurate word for word. If you just Google most accurate biblical translation, you'll find out that the KJV is fourth word for word. But that's not even the most important aspect. The aspect of it that's important is also, well, it is important clearly that it's word for word. I mean, I want the most accurate word for word. The New American Standard Bible, as you can see here, is the most accurate word for word. So this is a little better chart for you to see. This is where the KJV ranks as far as word for word form equivalence. It's the New American Standard Bible, then it's the ESV, then the NET, then the KJV, then the new KJV. But then you also see meaning for meaning and thought for thought equivalents. And these are important too. I'm not a fan of these paraphrases by any means, so I understand that. And sometimes the NLT will, I won't like some of their translations, but the NIV still thought for thought functional equivalence is one of the better versions. And the KJV, like I said, word for word is fourth. So I just bought myself an ESV. I just have it in the NIV here because it's a good thought for thought. Like I said, when you see the KJV, sometimes like it'll say respect of persons or just thither or certain words or phrases that we don't understand nowadays. I mean, bondman and bondservant, that's referring to servants or slaves. Yeah, it's a good chart. Just Google it yourself. Most accurate Bible translation. It's a myth. It's a common myth that the KJV is the most accurate word for word. It's not. But this is a good chart for people to understand. You do want to understand thought for thought. Like for instance, in English, if I call somebody a chicken, I might be calling them a coward. So yeah, word for word's important, but we also want to understand meaning for meaning and thought for thought. So I like to have, like right now, I was using the New American Standard Bible because it was most accurate word for word, apparently, compared to the interlinear. Then I just bought myself an ESV. KJV's grown on me, but it's still not my favorite for as far as translations goes. I use it a lot because Hebrew Israelites like it, but it's not my favorite. But the interlinear is really what I should be using. So I guess what I am going to start doing more of is I'm going to go with the Young's literal translation, because I think that's closer to anything. I don't know. I'd have to check into it because I'm trying to use the interlinear, but I don't know which one's the interlinear on here. Young's literal translation. I'll have to look into that. These are the ones that are actual, like this is Septuagint, this is, Codex, Latin Vulgate. These are the actual translations word for word from like the archaeological ones. But we want a blend of all these because we don't want biases either. We don't want just Latin. We don't want just Greek. We don't want, just the Hebrew. We want everything to be, understandable. I mean, the old Hebrew language, the biblical Hebrew language had 7,000 to 10,000 words. So clearly English today has 170,000 words. So that's, 17 to 20 times more words, 25 times more words, depending upon, how many, if you want to say 7,000 or 10,000. So if English has around 20 times as many words as, biblical Hebrew, it's important we understand what the words are meaning. So yeah, I mean, if you prefer the KJV, prefer the KJV. I mean, I could show it to you, like I said, in this Young's literal translation. I could go into all sorts of translations here. I mean, I agree. The certain versions I'm not a fan of, but like this is supposedly, New American Standard Bible. This is one of the more accurate word for words. Regardless, you can see the NIV is real similar to what these are saying here too, and I'm sure it's similar in the KJV too. But yeah, by no means is the KJV the authority as far as the most accurate text. You got to think about the fact that in 1611, they're speaking a totally different vernacular. They're speaking Shakespearean vernacular. And the number one priority back then for that translator would have been, okay, can my king read this? So it's not the most accurate, like, okay, let me get the translation right. It's like, okay, if the word's slave here, but we speak, our vernacular, I'm going to change it to bondman, bondservant. So you got to be aware of stuff like that in the KJV too, like the word thither. They're probably don't, the word thither probably isn't in the actual archaeological evidence. We have the tablets and so forth. So when the guy who's translating the KJV is using words like thither or desireth or mercy, he's adding to the text in that regard. He's changing words to fit his vernacular at the time. So we should, be aware of that. And we have enough archaeological evidence nowadays where we could put it into English, and we can do it. We have more people. Think about how many people, helped with the 1611 King James translation versus how many scholars we could have today come together from all sorts of denominations. So we could have Jewish, we could have Christian, we have Catholic, we have, Roman Catholic, we have Protestant, we have every single sect of faith come together. So there's no biases from America to Europe to Africa, all over the world, because that's what the NIV is really, good at is incorporating all denominations, not having a bias. So, yeah, I mean, people can have their preferred translations, but at the end of the day, that's a myth. The KJV is the most accurate. That's a myth. So you could just Google it yourself. But anyways, what I'll get back to here is my my WWF pregame trash talk to Nathaniel. And what I'll say is, IUIC, man, you guys in your little copyright games, that just shows what snakes you are. Because if you were proud of what you did at that church, at Geno Jennings Church, when you bum rushed the church and stood outside and just, acted all high and mighty in your purple phylacteries, then you would be proud of what you did, and you wouldn't want the videos to come down if you were not doing anything wrong. But yeah, this is where I was, reading wise. So let me get back to it. Changed it over to the New American Standard Bible for people that want a different translation. I'll be compromised here and read it here. And they do all their deeds to be noticed by other people, for they broaden their phylacteries and lengthen the tassels of their garments. And they love the place of honor at banquets and seats of honor in the synagogues, and personal greetings in the marketplaces and being called rabbi by the people. Almost sounds like people in these cults, these fake Hebrew Israelite cults that love to have rank, love to be called general, love to be called bishop, love to be called deacon, when all they do is manipulate people and lie to people. But they've been doing it longer, and they started the group, so they have places of power. Sounds like exactly like IUIC or any other fake Hebrew Israelite group. They wear long, you know, tassels on their garments. They brought in their phylacteries. They love to be noticed by other people. Who's that marching down the street? Who's that? I wonder who loves to be noticed by people. Maybe it's IUIC. And they love the place of honor at banquets and seats of honor in the synagogues and personal greetings in the marketplaces and being called rabbi by the people. But as for you, do not be called rabbi, for only one is your teacher, and you are all brothers and sisters. So look at this. Jesus Christ is telling them, don't even be called rabbi to the disciples. So don't even take the title of a teacher. So the only teacher we have is Jesus Christ. So let's all remember that. And remember, don't even try to get a title of teacher, because we only have one teacher. So what should we do? We should listen to our one teacher. And our one teacher is Jesus. And our one teacher is the one giving us this lesson about not wanting to be noticed, not wanting to wear these long phylacteries and broaden their phylacteries, which are boxes you put your prayers in and papers in, and tassels on their garment, long tassels on their garments. Jesus is specifically speaking about people doing this and saying, don't follow them. But yet, this is exactly what IUIC represents. This is exactly what they do. They put on their big purple robes and uniforms with, the tassels on them, and they walk down the street screaming, marching like they're in the military or something. And they, just want attention. But let's keep reading here just so we get a little better understanding. And here, let me make it a little bigger too. I don't like this view as much. Sorry. Let me make this view bigger. Sorry about that. But and do not call anyone on earth your father, for only one is your Father, he who is in heaven. And do not be called leaders, for only one is your leader, that is Christ. But the greatest of you shall be your servant. Whoever exalts himself shall be humbled, and whoever humbles himself shall be exalted. So right there, we got a bunch of jewels from Jesus, just as usual. What's going on, Tracy? This isn't going to be a long show. I'm going to do the book of Joshua later tonight. So I do have my presentation ready for the book of Joshua, but I just got motivated to give IUIC a quick warning because the guy gave me a copyright strike, and I wasn't too amused. So my plan is to make a point of going at IUIC a little more in the future now, because I don't appreciate people trying to get my YouTube channel flagged. So yeah, IUIC hit me with this copyright claim, and it's the first time that's happened. So I got to notice, navigate the system, find out, the rules. I know you can do reaction videos on people, so I gotta, navigate the rules. I don't know if this copyright claim by them is just so, if I ever monetized it, they could stop the monetization, or if it can affect me worse. Because it did say, like when I was reading the rules, that if you get 3 copyright claims or strikes, you could lose your channel. But this is just a claim. I don't think it's a strike yet, but it's still an annoyance that I wanted to address. So, I just want to show people these hypocrites, these fake snakes IUIC are trying to stop people from exposing their lives. Like I said, if I saved a baby from a burning building and people had a video of it, I'm not going to be hitting them with copyright claims. So they clearly know what they're doing in that video, is wrong, and it's not behavior they're proud of. But yeah, later tonight we'll get back to the content. This was just me, getting this off my chest and making an announcement. So IUIC is aware that they just They just what's going on, Pam? They just motivated me more to go at them. But yeah, later tonight we'll go through this book of Joshua. We got the whole presentation done already. So I just figured I'd do it at 7 o'clock because I know most people will be out of work by then. So as you guys can see, we're going to go through all 24 chapters of Joshua later. I don't know if we'll make it through the whole thing, but if people want to help me, go through it, that's the Joshua presentation. So if you guys haven't read, what's going on, Sherry? I apologize. All you guys are coming in now because again, this isn't like a long video because I'm just giving a message to IUIC to not be striking my videos and thinking that it's going to stop me. I'm going to just make more content about them now. And all they did is motivate me to do that. So I'm going to make more videos about IUIC. But yeah, we'll get back on track and do the book of Joshua at 7 o'clock tonight. I just wanted people to be able to be home from work and, go through it then. Because if I did it right now, I know a lot of people would miss it. So we'll go through it later. We got 36 slides on it, so it's going to be long if we only get through half of it. We'll do a part 2 on it, but if we get through it, we can get through the whole thing maybe. But hopefully people like Jesse and J-Man and David and whoever joins me to help me break it down, because I always could use help breaking down, the chapters, because all this says is, me writing some scriptures down and giving brief summaries of what happened. So everybody can join me later and, their opinion is going to be as good as mine. But yeah, it's a good look at the book of Joshua. I forgot a lot of stuff about Joshua, honestly. I forgot how important he was. He was obviously Moses' successor, chosen by God to lead Israel after the Exodus. And Joshua is was the next Moses for the people. So, I'll show that, real early on in the presentation that God himself in scripture chose Joshua to be Moses' successor. So it's pretty interesting stuff. I forgot, Joshua told the sun to stand still, and he made the sun stand still. So that's in chapter 10, I believe. But it was pretty interesting stuff that I'm looking forward to going through on the book of Joshua. Chapter 10, Joshua tells the sun to stand still. So in Joshua 10:1, now Adoni-Zedek, king of Jerusalem, heard that Joshua had taken Ai and totally destroyed it, doing to Ai and its king as he had done to Jericho and its king, and that the people of Gibeon had made a treaty of peace with Israel and had become their allies. So right there, I also learned, the land of Jerusalem before the Israelites settled had already had a king. So just like, things like that, I think everybody's going to learn from. But it's an awesome chapter. I get into chapter 10 here more so, and on, Joshua 10, 12, 13. So the second verse down here, the scripture says, on that day, the Lord gave the Amorites over to Israel. Joshua said to the Lord in the presence of Israel, sun, stand still over Gibeon, and you, moon, over the valley of Ajalon. So the sun stood still and the moon stopped till the nation avenged itself on its enemies. As it is written in the book of Jasher, the sun stopped in the middle of the sky and delayed going down about a full day. There has never been a day like it before or since, a day when the Lord listened to a human being. Surely the Lord was fighting for Israel, excellent for Israel. So if you guys want to, check out Joshua chapter 10, verses 12, 13, or just the entire chapter 10 yourself, you'll probably be amazed like I was reading that verse, because I totally forgot that. I mean, David said he remembered it the other day. I don't know. I mean, David being Jewish might, hear this story more often than some of us Christians do, but that's one of the things that, doing this breakdown on the entire book of Joshua, all 24 chapters, that really, blew my mind, that I could read something like this, because I've read the Bible a couple times and still forget that this happened, that Joshua told the sun to stand still and God listened to him and did it, just to show, demonstrate to Israel how much God was with, Joshua. as the leader, So yeah, and also seeing, on the slide before, just in chapter 10, that Jerusalem had a king before the Israelites. So Jerusalem was already an established city that the Israelites just took over and then made their capital, the capital for the southern kingdom, that is. So yeah, I hope you guys, come by later at 7 o'clock for the presentation on Joshua, because that's what I like to do more so than anything on the channel is get into, the information and, you know, just learn, and we all better ourselves when we get into the information about the Bible. So that's my end goal. That's what we're going to do at 7 o'clock tonight. This was just kind of me reacting to the fact that Bishop Nathaniel and his cronies, his weak cult IUIC, are trying to stop me from doing reaction videos to their content where they're blitzing Christian churches. So I wanted to just make a video to tell people that it's not going to work. I'm gonna figure out the rules on what is allowed, what isn't allowed, and I'm gonna make sure IUIC gets a lot more of my attention, because I already knew they were scum and snakes and liars and deceivers. But now I'm more motivated than ever to expose their content. But I'm gonna have to do it carefully and make sure I'm aware of what I can do and what I can't do as far as reaction videos and stuff like that on YouTube. But yeah, that's it. So hopefully you guys come by later at 7 o'clock for the book of Joshua. That'll be a better video. That'll be actually concentrated on the information of the Bible. We got all 24 chapters covered. Hopefully people come on to help me out. Besides that, God bless, and I'll see you guys later. So thanks for spending your time right now, but please come back at 7 o'clock if you want to actually learn stuff. And we won't be talking about Hebrew Israelites. We'll be going through the book of Joshua. So thank you very much.